Explosive new allegations in the Caylee Anthony murder case. Kaylee's mother, Casey, is charged with murdering the precious toddler and could face the death penalty. But now Casey's defense team has lobbed a hand grenade into this case. They are pointing the finger at somebody they would like to see investigated as a possible new suspect. We're talking about Roy Kronk. Remember him, the meter reader, who found little Kaylee's skeletal remains in December of 2008.
I need you like now. I just found a human skull. On Suburban Drive in the woods by the school. Now, I told you she was here. It's a child's skull with duct tape across the mouth.
Florida prosecutors had their say for months. Police interviews, evidence dumps, photos, thousands of pages. Domain tonight will have its say right here on Issues. As Casey Anthony's attorney Jose Baez joins me for a primetime exclusive. I will ask the tough questions and we'll get to the bottom of the controversial Roy Kronk theory and much more. For starters, Jose Baez will argue that Roy Kronk knew the location of Kaylee's remains a full month before he officially found the body in December of 2008. Plus, a private investigator hired by Casey's defense team has rounded up interviews with several people who are making some stunning claims against Roy Kronk. Listen to one of Roy's ex-wives.
He beat me up in front of Dad, told me to sit on the couch. If I moved, he would beat me. He duct taped my hands one time. He duct taped my hands so I couldn't call my mom and dad while I was gone. And I was probably duct taped 45 minutes or so.
Now, as the whole world knows by now, duct tape was found around little Kaylee's head at the crime scene. And duct tape was also found in the Anthony home. We're going to look into that crucial evidence. Meantime, Roy Kronk spoke out after he was deposed by Casey's defense team on November 19th, 2009. Here's what he said about facing off against Casey's lawyer, Jose Baez.
Mr. Baez was very polite to me all day. He was very nice to me, and it was a very nice mood in there, so it wasn't a bad day at all. I mean, it was very professional, and there was no accusations or any of that type of stuff.
Uh-oh. Little did he realize at that very moment the defense team was filing this blockbuster motion in which Roy is the target. Kronk's lawyer had this to say.
Well, they just, dumped a big pot of mud over his head and said, look at this guy.
We reached out to Kronk's attorney, who told us, quote, the defense would be looking for people to blame. First it was the babysitter, now it's the meter reader, end quote. Roy denies all the allegations that are contained within the defense motion. So much to discuss with my very guest. Let's get right to it. Casey Anthony, defense attorney Jose Baez, welcome. We're very glad to have you here. So many questions I have wanted to ask you for a long time. Talk about this motion. I know you're limited about what you can say about this huge motion you have filed, but essentially the judge has to decide on whether to let any of this evidence in before the trial even starts. So what happens if the judge says, we're not going to let any of this stuff, these allegations about Roy Kronk in at all? Where do you go from there?
Well, actually, we just take it on the chin and move on. This is not a problem that any defense lawyer is not accustomed to. It happens aren't scripted events, so that's why the motion was filed, to see if the judge will find it to be admissible. It is. We move on from there.
How'd you get all this stuff? I understand you have a whole bunch of private investigators, one of them from Chicago, and they're like scurrying around trying to interview people? Because you can always find an ex-wife, generally, to say something nully about the ex. I mean, of all the people that are more likely to say that than not, it's the ex who might have an axe to grind.
I totally understand, and the witnesses that were put forth in this motion are two ex-wives, as well as a former girlfriend's daughter in which he lived with, and his own son. So, and all of these people, absent the Sparks, don't even know each other. So, that's one of the things we found interesting. We did what we believe any good lawyer would do, and investigate all of the critical witnesses. What we're most disappointed in is that the law enforcement never investigated this critical witness the way they should have. And otherwise, they certainly would have found this information and not have to rely on us to find it.
With all due respect, Jose, law enforcement said they did check this guy out and they cleared him. We're talking about meter reader Roy Kronk, who called 911 3 times in August of 2008. Listen to this excerpt from August 11th.
There's a swamp, and if you're heading back out towards the main road of left, I don't know what it is. I'm not telling you it's Kaylee or anything of that nature.
In fact, police called Roy Kronk with a hunch. Cops ended up disciplining one of their own. Deputy Richard Kane was fired after he properly investigate one of Roy Kronk's. Kronk claimed Kane was dismissive to him. Jose, this is a guy who has been a bail bondsman. He's also been a hunter, this Roy Kronk. He says he has a hunch. He had a hunch. He called 3 times in August, said, hey, check this out, this swampy area. The cop came down. There was water. He was allegedly lazy, didn't do a thorough job. And then Roy Kronk decides, I'm going to go back in December. I'm going to check it out. And lo and behold, he's a hero. He had a gut feeling, and he followed it through.
Well, with all due respect, like you mentioned earlier, I don't believe law enforcement did find this information out. Otherwise, they would have certainly turned it over to us in discovery, and we certainly haven't seen anything like that. And I think I would give law enforcement the benefit of the doubt in saying that they didn't investigate it, as opposed to that they investigated this and they knew about this stuff and didn't turn it over to the defense.
Well, we're going to move on past these new allegations, but first I have to tell you, WFTV legal expert Bill Schaefer says Roy Kronk is just the suspect du jour. He says, quote, a low blow by the defense. Today, the suspect is Roy Kronk, but what about our favorite mystery nanny, Zanny the nanny? Casey has blamed this on her since day one. A woman named Zenaida Gonzalez took little Kaylee. Listen to this.
Hey, gorgeous, how you doing?
Look like hell.
Well, you know something? You really need to keep your spirit high for all this.
I haven't been crying while I've been in here.
What message do you want me to give to Zanny and to Kaylee? What do you want me to tell Zanny?
That she needs to return Kaylee.
What do you think her reasons are?
Mom, I don't know.
She needs to return Kaylee. Police say Zanny the nanny does not exist, that it's a fiction. Jose, does Casey still maintain she left Kaylee with Zanny the nanny? How do you connect Zanny the nanny to Roy Kronk? I mean, we have to use our imagination to put these pieces together.
I can't comment on what my client says or in client confidential conversations. So that's really something I can't comment on or go in any way, shape, or form. As far as what our strategy is going to be at trial, it's going to happen at trial. These are motions that we had to file, and I know everyone every single day wants to try this case today. Today it's going to be tried in a courtroom at the time that it's ready to go to trial. And unfortunately, we don't think it's in our client's best interest to lay out the defense in front of the court of public opinion.
So we're going to have to just wait and see whether you are going to be able to establish any kind of connection, link the dots between these allegations that you've made vis-a-vis Roy Kronk and Zanny the nanny. Again, cops say that Zanny doesn't exist. Casey has said to police that she left her with Zanny the nanny. So we're trying to figure all this out. That's what we're trying to do.
I understand. And one thing that I want to make clear is we've never said there's a connection. We never said there isn't a connection. We've never said anything specifically about either one of these people. Specifically, even Roy Kronk. We're not making any outright allegations against Mr. Kronk. We're just bringing this evidence that we've uncovered that we feel is prior bad acts evidence that could be or could not be used to impeach a potential witness, and in this case, a very critical witness. So I think people jump the gun when they say we're pointing the finger at Roy Kronk.
Well, when you dig up a whole bunch of people who have nasty things to say about him, you can see why people would jump to that conclusion that you're pointing the finger.
Understood.
You're saying that the woman said that he used duct tape on her, and duct tape is at the heart of this case.
Well, these are things that these people are telling us, and I think it would be foolish to ignore it. It's something that should be investigated, and hopefully now maybe law enforcement will investigate it a bit further. And unless you do investigate, you never find out. And this is a case where Casey was prejudged from the beginning, and from there, they basically try to build a case around it. And we want a complete and fair investigation done, and that's why we did it.
All right, don't move, Jose. Stay right where you are. We're going to have more as we delve inside the Casey Anthony investigation.
Can someone let me... Come on!
Casey, hold on, sweetheart. Settle down, baby.
Nobody's letting me speak. You want me to talk? Then
all right,
give me
I'll listen to
3
you.
seconds to say
Go,
something.
sweetheart.
I'm not in control over any of this.